Welcome, everybody. This is Marise Frangie again with this series from the book Woman Healed. I'm so grateful for Carolina Restrepo, who's joining me today so we can continue reading testimonies from this book. Remember, the link is in the description box if you would like to purchase this book. Today, we're going to be reading from section Postpartum Depression. This will be the first story, and I will be going over the physician's comments. But before we start with the book, Carolina, can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Carolina Guevara Restrepo. I am a fertility care practitioner. I started my education phase in 2018. Actually, Marise was one of the educators at that time. And I've been working 2 years for one of the fertility care centers that we find in the U.S. It's called the Gianna Center. I'm really grateful that I have this opportunity to help women, to help couples, and also Hispanic communities.
It's a blessing that you're able to teach this in the Spanish language. So thank you for that, Carolina. And just a reminder for everyone, these series are produced as a video on my YouTube channel and also as a podcast on Apple Podcast, Anchor, Spotify, and Google Podcast. So you can listen to them on either platform and try to share them with other people, because so many women are suffering with different reproductive health issues, and they do not know about NAPRO technology and how it can offer them real solutions to those real problems they're dealing with. So I'm on page 209, in case anyone has the book. I'm going to read the physician's comments, Dr. Thomas Hilgers, Postpartum Depression. After having a baby, 15 to 20% of women will experience some type of depressive episode. This is referred to as postpartum depression, and it can occur after a full-term pregnancy or after miscarriage or tubal pregnancy. It can also occur after induced abortion. Because of the Institute's work in premenstrual syndrome and the use of progesterone and HCG to stimulate progesterone production, an insight has been obtained relative to the important role of this hormone in correcting these underlying mood disorders. Many years ago, Dr. Katrina Dalton promoted the use of progesterone as a treatment for postpartum depression. In the last 15 years, the St. Paul VI Institute has implemented a program of evaluation for the use of progesterone in these circumstances. Now it can be said that women who suffer from postpartum depression with the use of a simple treatment with the hormone progesterone can expect about 95% recovery rate, and the recovery is often very rapid. The standard treatment for postpartum depression at the present time is to use antidepressants. However, this treatment takes many months and up to a year to work effectively, and then never really completely works. The use of progesterone, on the other hand, can produce positive results within hours and definitely within days or weeks. It truly is a remarkable approach to this long-standing condition, and NAPRO technology has allowed for it to be further evaluated and refined. I'm preparing for a conference that I'm giving next week, and I printed a handout that the St. Paul VI Institute did where they talk about the effectiveness of NAPRO technology with postpartum depression, infertility, different things. So one of my friends saw it, and she has 3 children, that she suffered so much with postpartum depression for many years after each baby delivery. Like, so many women suffer and they just do not know that this is something that can be really treated in a proper way, not just antidepressant. So it's good that we are kind of shedding light on this, because I'm sure so many women out there need to hear this message. I will start reading from the story titled Postpartum Depression Now Merely a Memory by Stacy Bunn, page 211.
Sure. My name is Stacy Bunn, and I'm 33 years old. My husband, David, and I have 2 children, Joanna, who's 3 years old, and Josiah, 1 year old. We have been using the Creighton Model Fertility Care System under the guidance of Sheila St. John since we were married. We live in Salinas, California. During my first pregnancy, I began to have some health problems that contributed to my ultimately delivering Joanna by cesarean section. Shortly after birth, I fell into severe postpartum depression. My symptoms included extreme fatigue, lethargy, sadness, crying, fearfulness, strange and scary thoughts, and a certain distortion of my senses of hearing and seeing. I was in a sort of mental and physical fog and had little inclination to care for my baby or do much of anything else. I was able to nurse my daughter, and the importance of this to me and my husband motivated us to seek a natural remedy. So like you mentioned, so many people, they don't know about this and how nanotechnology can help them, and especially in a natural way.
Yes.
They don't need to take anything like that is not natural.
Yeah, that would cause side effects to their bodies.
Exactly, yeah. After about 2 weeks with no improvement in my condition, we contacted Sheila. She recommended that we try a natural progesterone treatment as practiced by Dr. Thomas Hilgers of the Paul VI Institute. One of our family doctors, who is particularly open to natural and alternative treatments, gave me an injection of natural progesterone even before we received the detailed course of treatment from Dr. Hilgers. After we established communication with Dr. Hilgers' office by phone, we proceeded with his recommended course of natural progesterone. So I'm glad she started this.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, going back to what you were saying, natural progesterone, bioidentical, similar to the one that our body produces, not the synthetic with completely different chemical structure that can create a lot of problems for women. And unfortunately, a lot of women don't even realize that.
Exactly. Yeah. After about 3 weeks of this progesterone therapy, my postpartum depression cleared up completely, never to return. While my response to the progesterone was not as fast as some, the cure was finally once my system was brought back into balance. Progesterone was key to my recovery. After one of my very first injections, I experienced one entire day free of all the negative symptoms, a miraculous recovery. This one day was a complete turnaround from the day before and the day after. I was completely myself again, and again in a very natural way. And while I fell back into depression for about 2 more weeks, it is clear from this first positive step that the progesterone was bringing me back to normal. The other evidence of the progesterone's effect is that I recovered so completely and quickly after the 3-week period. Dr. Hilgers prescribed progesterone pills in this latter phase, which I took to keep my hormone level stable.
It's amazing how she says in the last paragraph about 3 weeks of this progesterone therapy after it, her postpartum depression cleared up completely. Like how many women suffer for so long? Like I heard women for years sometimes from that postpartum depression, and they don't know that this is something that can be treated with nanotechnology.
Yeah.
Like, why be on antidepressant and become kind of like addicted to them in a way where women cannot get out of them? When there is something that can really make a difference, something healthy. It doesn't have any side effects.
Yeah, no side effects, and at the end, it's going to be beneficial for your whole system, definitely.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's different environment for the entire family. Because if the mother is suffering from postpartum depression, the entire family is suffering. Mm-hmm. So thank God for Dr. Hilgers and nanotechnology that's really helping families have a more of a normal life with no postpartum depression. And we know with PMS also the irritability and all of that. So
all those symptoms a woman can experience. So we just hope that all this information comes out and people reach out to it, because it will be beneficial to many, I'm sure.
Yeah, and thank God we have practitioners all over. Like I'm in Virginia, you're in New York and New Jersey, and many of us teach these days also virtually. Like people don't have to continue to suffer. They can reach out to practitioners, and we can refer them to nanotechnology medical consultant to help them with all of that.
Yeah, and all over the world. I have one of the clients, she's from Paraguay. I teach her in Spanish. And she was telling me, I have this friend in Paraguay. Can you teach her? And I'm happy to, but there's a fertility care center there. If you want, you can call. And finally, she did, and she's happy. She has a fertility care practitioner in Paraguay that's teaching her.
That's great. Yeah, because of the presence of centers all over the world, which is a real blessing for women and for married couples, engaged couples, and families.
Exactly. Yeah.
When I became pregnant the second time with our son, we got into contact with Dr. Hilgers' office well in advance. When I was about 3 months along, we began to follow a plan of progesterone injections planned by Dr. Hilgers to hopefully prevent a similar bout of postpartum depression. My pregnancy went a lot more smoothly this time, and I was able to deliver Josiah naturally. However, several days after his birth, I felt myself sliding into postpartum depression again. The symptoms were serious but somewhat different from the first instance. I felt horrible but was able to do more for my baby and did not experience the strange sensory fogginess that I have described above. My family and friends thought I was functioning at a higher level than the previous time, although I myself wasn't always able to appreciate this. Continuing in contact with Dr. Hilgers and his staff, I proceeded with more progesterone injections. Again, I did not respond as quickly as was hoped, but after about 2.5 weeks, I again had one day of sudden and near complete recovery. I fell back into the depression, but this positive sign gave us and Dr. Hilgers enough hope to continue my course of treatment. After 4 weeks from the date of my son's birth, the postpartum depression lifted like a darker cloud blown away by the wind, and this time it never returned. So even though it didn't happen instantly, it took a few weeks, but within a few weeks she was able to see result.
Exactly.
The current medical approach with antidepressant medication, it can take a few months to start seeing any improvement, and the improvement is not significant like with the case of NAPRO technology. For women,
and with those antidepressants, sometimes they have to change the medication.
yeah,
One
that's
is not
true.
good.
That's,
So.
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Okay, we are extremely grateful to Dr. Hilgers and his staff for prescribing the natural progesterone therapy for us and for working closely with us over a long distance with the peculiarities and intrinsics of my case. Prayer, the support of family and friends, and common sense tools like exercise and positive distractions all contributed to my final and complete cure in both instances. Without the natural progesterone, I realized that my recovery would have taken longer, perhaps a great deal longer, and that I might have had to resort to other, more difficult and less benign medical tools. Recovery using these other means is not only slower, but can be partial and piecemeal with possible side effects. With the gift of natural progesterone therapy, my terrifying experiences of postpartum depression are now merely memories.
You know, it's important to empower the woman with this knowledge, even if she does not have it, because she can help someone else. Like if I did not know about this, I would have not been able to refer a lady that I spoke to last week to NAPRO Technology Medical Consultant. She has a baby who's like 3 months old. She has 4 other kids, but she's overwhelmed. She was crying while talking to me and explained to me all what she's going through. And I was like, you need to talk to NAPRO Technology Medical Consultant because you're going through most likely postpartum depression. So that knowledge empowers women, even if it's not for us, but to help others. Because so many women might be suffering silently. Like I remember reading so many stories about women going through postpartum depression, but they wouldn't talk about it to anyone. They feel like kind of ashamed. They keep it in the darkness. They're afraid to bring it out to let people know. So it's very important that we spread the word. And I hope everyone listening now would click share and send this podcast or this video to share it with other people so that women don't continue to suffer with postpartum depression. Any final comments, Carolina?
Just to reinforce what you just said, we need to get this word out. We are talking about postpartum depression right now, but there are many other topics regarding women's health that can be either cured or at least greatly improved with NAPRO technology.
Exactly, like infertility, miscarriages, premenstrual syndrome, prevention of preterm birth. So yeah, there are so many things. It's very effective to help women maintain, monitor, and evaluate their own gynecological health. And that's why we're doing what we're doing, because every woman listening to us, every couple deserve to know the best kept secrets of the Creighton Model Fertility Care System and NAPRO technology. Carolina, thank you so much for joining me for this episode. And thank you to everyone who's listening, watching. Feel free to leave any comments, feedback in the description box below, and feel free to contact us. My contact information is in the description box below, as well as Carolina contact information also. And thank you for being here, and have a blessed day.
Have a blessed day. Thank you.